What would you do if you encountered a gigantic boulder blocking your path? Would you move it, walk around it, or blame others for it? Fascinating questions, right? Let's dive into a story that explores just that. Our tale begins with a king, not just any king, but a very wealthy and incredibly curious one. This king was not content with the ordinary royal pursuits. No, he had a mind that thirsted for knowledge and insights into the human condition. One day, the king decided to conduct an experiment. He ordered his men to place a colossal boulder right smack in the middle of a busy road. Now, this was no ordinary road. It was a bustling artery, a lifeline that connected the kingdom's heart to its outlying lands. Having set the stage for his experiment, the king did what any curious observer would do. He hid, but not out of fear or shyness, oh no. He hid to observe, to watch how his subjects would react to this sudden, unexpected obstacle. His eyes, full of anticipation, peered from behind a thick curtain of foliage. His breath hitched in his throat as he watched the first travelers approach the boulder. Would they try to move it, or would they simply walk around? The king was intrigued, not just by the physical actions of his subjects, but by the thoughts and emotions that would drive those actions. He wanted to understand what made them tick. What would they do when faced with a challenge? Would they rise to it, or would they shirk it? And so he watched, hidden, as one by one people started to encounter the boulder. The stage was set, the players were entering, and the play was about to begin. The king could hardly contain his excitement. What would happen next? Only time would tell. And so he watched, hidden, as one by one, people started to encounter the boulder. The first to pass by were the king's wealthiest merchants and courtiers. These were individuals of significant status and influence, draped in the finest silks and satins, their pockets heavy with the weight of their gold. The road they traveled was one they had traversed many times, a familiar path that connected the heart of the kingdom to their prosperous estates. Yet, on this day, their journey was interrupted by a gigantic boulder, placed right in the middle of their path. The king watched as one by one they approached the obstacle. A murmur of surprise, a gasp of annoyance, expressions of confusion painted on their faces as they beheld the boulder. However, despite their wealth and power, not one of them attempted to move the stone. Instead, they chose to walk around it, their silken robes brushing against the dusty road. Some grumbled about the inconvenience, others blamed the king for not maintaining the roads, their voices echoing in the silent air. They complained, but did nothing to change the situation. Their reactions were a reflection of their attitudes. They saw the boulder as a nuisance, an interruption to their routine, an obstacle they should not have to deal with. They had the strength, the means, and the ability to remove the boulder, but they chose not to. Their privilege and status had, in a way, blinded them to the opportunity that lay hidden within the problem. And so, they continued on their journey, leaving the boulder right where it was in the middle of the road. Their decision to ignore the problem didn't make it disappear, it simply delayed the solution. None of them took it upon themselves to remove the obstacle. Instead, they chose the easy way around it. They overlooked the opportunity to improve the path for themselves and for those who would come after them. Their story serves as a reminder that sometimes the easiest path isn't always the most rewarding one. Then, a peasant came along, his arms full of vegetables. This humble man was returning home after a long day in the fields. His day had been filled with hard work under the sun, his hands were rough from toiling the soil, yet his spirit remained unbroken. His path home was blocked by the same huge boulder that had been ignored by so many before him. He paused, gazing at the obstacle in his path. The road was quiet, the journey was long, and the man was tired. Yet he didn't sigh in resignation like the merchants and courtiers had done. Instead, a glimmer of determination sparked in his weary eyes. He took a deep breath, placed his basket of vegetables gently on the ground, and rolled up his sleeves. He assessed the enormous stone, not with resentment, but with a problem solver's keen eye. He positioned himself, pushed, strained, his muscles screaming in protest. His brow was beaded with sweat, his breath was heavy, but his resolve never wavered. He pushed again, harder this time, his grit and perseverance in full display. The boulder, as if finally acknowledging his determination, began to move. With one final Herculean push, the peasant managed to roll the stone to the side of the road. He stood there, panting, exhausted but victorious. He then turned back to his vegetables, picking up the fruits of his labor, preparing to continue his journey home. But what's this? As he picked up his basket, something caught his eye. Where the boulder had been, there lay a purse. With great effort, he finally succeeded. Little did he know his efforts were about to be rewarded. As he was ready to go on his way, he saw a purse lying in the road where the boulder had been. The peasant, surprised, approached the seemingly out-of-place purse with curiosity bubbling within him. It was not every day that one found a purse lying in the middle of the road, especially not where a boulder had just been. He picked up the purse, its weight hinting towards something substantial within its confines. He undid its clasp and his eyes widened in disbelief. Inside, the purse was teeming with gold coins shimmering under the midday sun. The sight was so astounding that the peasant took a step back, blinking in disbelief. He could not comprehend how a simple act of moving a boulder could lead to this unexpected windfall, but there was more. Tucked amidst the gold coins was a crisp piece of parchment, a note, folded neatly. He carefully unfolded the note, revealing the unmistakable handwriting of none other than the king himself. The message was straightforward, yet profound. The king expressed his gratitude, stating that the purse's gold was a reward for moving the boulder from the road. The peasant's heart pounded in his chest as he read the note. He could hardly believe his eyes. The king, the ruler of the entire realm, was thanking him, a humble peasant, for his act of effort. And the reward was not just a token of appreciation, it was a substantial fortune enough to change his life forever. The peasant was overjoyed. His act of effort and perseverance had brought him unexpected fortune. This wasn't just about the gold coins, it was about the recognition of his hard work, his determination, his will to make a difference. It was a testament to the fact that every obstacle, no matter how daunting, presents an opportunity to improve our condition, to rise above our circumstances, and to truly make a difference. And that in itself was the greatest reward. The simple peasant had shown something that many of us fail to understand. As we look back on our tale, we see a king, curious and wise, seeking to understand the true nature of his subjects. He lays an obstacle in their path in the form of a gigantic boulder. The wealthy and privileged, those who have the means to remove the obstacle, simply walk around it. They choose to evade the challenge, grumbling about the inconvenience but doing nothing to change the situation. Then comes along a simple peasant, his arms full of the day's harvest. He sees the boulder not as an inconvenience but as a challenge to overcome. He puts down his load, rolls up his sleeves, and with all his might, he pushes the boulder aside. He could have easily walked around it like the others before him, but he chose to face the obstacle head-on. And what does he find as a reward for his effort? A purse full of gold coins and a note from the king himself. A note that reveals the true purpose of the obstacle and the reward for those who choose to face it. The king's experiment had revealed a profound truth. Every obstacle we encounter presents an opportunity to improve our condition, to better our circumstances. It's all a matter of perspective. This story serves as a great reminder that challenges and obstacles aren't just inconveniences designed to make our lives difficult. They are opportunities for growth, for learning, for improvement. They test our mettle, measure our resolve, and ultimately reveal our true character. So the next time you encounter a boulder in your path, remember the peasant's story. Will you choose to walk around it, grumbling about the inconvenience, or will you face it head-on, push with all your might, and uncover the opportunity that lies beneath? What will you choose to do? Share your thoughts in the comments section and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more inspiring stories.